before we go, there's a story that I alluded to in talking with Will just then about Johns Hopkins University. When you think Johns Hopkins, you often think about the medical school. But like every other higher learning institution, it now has an office of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And oh shoot, I'm not finding it right here. Oh wait, here yes I am. I can say this because I'm on a podcast that has no break structure. So there's a DEI leader at Johns Hopkins, happens to be a Black woman. And they put out a newsletter, as these departments do. And you should know, and there she is, the chief diversity officer. I am so against this idea because it is not about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Maybe it is about equity, trying to get the same results for every human, which is impossible. Let me say it again. It is impossible. Life is not fair that way. I would never win a beauty contest against a lot of people. And then Will Kane would probably beat me in Jeopardy. So we're all built with different gifts, which is why equitable outcomes are impossible. Equal opportunity is what the United States was built on. Yes, in spite of our stain of slavery, which we have overcome. But it seems to me that a lot of people want to revisit it and act as though it's still, there's the generational trauma. Now that's another badge you can wear, a badge of honor. I have generational trauma. You know who has real generational trauma? Every Jew in the world. Because, they were nearly exterminated. And I use that word purposely. Women have generational trauma. Everyone can find generational trauma if they want to find it. Or, and here's what I would encourage people to do, to find hope and tap into what's good in you, what's strong in you, what's powerful in you, what sets you apart, and maximize those talents and use it to your advantage. DEI doesn't want anything to do with that. They just want to, as Will put it so eloquently earlier, to find oppressors and beat them down. So here is what this DEI person said. She called out privileged people, and she used privilege as the word of the day. Privilege, she said, is a set of unearned benefits given to people who are in a specific social group. Privilege operates on personal, interpersonal, cultural, and institutional levels, and it provides advantages and favors to members of the dominant groups at the expense of members of other groups. In the US, privilege is granted to people who have membership in one or more of these social groups. Here it is, folks: whites, able-bodied, heterosexuals, cisgender, males, Christians, middle or owning class. That's a term I hadn't heard before. Middle-aged and or English-speaking people. Okay, you fall into one of those categories. Apparently, according to this woman, you are privileged. Now, the backlash was swift and it was strong. And that same woman has come out today and apologized. Here's the thing about apologies. I like to accept them, but you wrote this very intentionally. This was not an offhanded remark that you made on a podcast. You thought this out. And now that you're getting backlash, you're apologizing for something that you clearly thought out very deeply and wrote in a newsletter that went out to all the people at Johns Hopkins who were reading it. But now that there is backlash, you're apologizing profusely, by the way. I shouldn't have written that. The definition was wrong. If you're apologizing that profusely, you must have had some thought going in that this might ruffle some feathers. Maybe I better give this another read or have someone look at it and give me their reaction. So this is when you go, you're a really smart person, ma'am. You work at Johns Hopkins. You're no dummy. You've been well educated. Doesn't mean you're wise. Why in the hell would you write this? And then immediately go, oopsie daisy. I'm sorry. That was a bad idea. But this is where we are. And I like to believe, because of the backlash and because of the opinions that I'm hearing from a lot of people who aren't in these privileged groups. I'm hearing it from people of color. I'm hearing it from women. I'm hearing it from gay people. I'm hearing it from a lot of people that they think this is ridiculous, that we have gotten so far afield of what the country was founded on, which is the United States of America, which is all men and women are created equal. All humans are created equal. So what we get is we get equal opportunity at life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I know I'm sounding really like, Washingtonian here and really patriotic, because I am. Because I am. Because when I look around the world, in spite of this president that we have right now, in spite of the fact that our Secretary of Defense orchestrated a lie about his health, in spite of all the crap that's taking place in DC, I still believe this is the greatest country on earth, because I get to sit here and say stuff like this, because we have people volunteer to protect us, because we are trying to make amends for the sins of the past. And we've been working very, very hard at that. But certain race hustlers don't want it to happen, because that's how they make their money, by keeping the grievances alive. That this diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff is crap. And everyone's saying it now. It's real fun to say. DEI needs to DIE. We need to get it out, and parents need to stand up for it at schools, and all the rest of you need to say enough. My kid has no control over the fact that he is white, he or she is white, that she is able-bodied, that he is a heterosexual, a male. Yes, I'm raising that person Christian. Yes, we own a home. Yes, their parents are 45. And yes, we grew up speaking English. These are unearned privileges. And that makes us what? Oppressors? Enough. Just enough. Oh, I just honestly, this is why I left my previous job. I this stuff has to end. We have to look at each other and accept one another for our differences and find common ground. It's as simple as that. And we got to save this country, because it's still the last great hope on earth, which is why millions and millions of people try to get in here every single day, as much as you try to tell them they're going to be oppressed. So I'm sure I'll get slammed for all of this whole monologue. I'm sure that I will. As Will Kane just said, you just got to stand and take the arrows, and hope that other people will find courage in your words.